Welcome to Mycronic here at IPC Apex Expo. I'm delighted to be joined by Kevin Clue. Great to see you, Kevin.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Again? Another Apex?
Yeah, of course. So always, when we come to these shows, we like to look at what's new. And you've been expanding out your full line solution here. So let's talk a little bit about that and how it works.
Yeah, sure. So Mycronic for many, many years has been known for high flexibility and on the pick and place side of our business back in the My Data days. But over the last 6-7 years or so, we've been heavily investing in the full line infrastructure. And full line to us is a competency all the way from stencil printing, jet printing, inspection equipment, pick and place equipment, and towers. So we've made a lot of investments in R&D and a couple acquisitions along the way. Mm-hmm. And now we have what we consider a state-of-the-art full-line solution. And we've done very well with that solution over the years, I would say. Most recently, this last year, we had some really good year-over-year growth in the full-line sales. We've grew by 50% year-over-year, which in last year's market is quite good. Quite good performance.
Reflected in your share price, I saw it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you bring that up. We had another really good year fiscally at Mycronic. Record-breaking revenue, record-breaking EBIT. And as you mentioned, our stock price is reflected of that, so our shareholders are happy. So it's all good. Yeah.
So just focusing on the full line solution, you added a stencil printer, which someone would say is maybe a backward step, but it was really there to complement your jet printers. How has that worked out, and has that resulted in more printing business?
Yeah, and I think it's all part of the full line story, Trevor. Stencil printing has been around for a long, long time. It's a proven technology. And I would say that technology is still going to maintain for many, many more years to come. There's no reason to move away. It's a very reliable process technology. But we think at Mycronic it's a nice complement to our existing technology, which has been jet printing. Over here on the left, you can see our zero defect printing solution, which is a stencil printer with a jet printer with an SPI solution, all interconnected with software, with closed loop feedback. And now you have the jet printer with a bunch of different functions. You can use the jet printer as a function to add volume for additional for missing paste or for those parts that need a little bit more volume. You can also use it for a repair loop. You could have the SPI machine after stencil, and then you could have the jet printer after that. So as the SPI reports defects, so the jet printer can be used to fix those defects. So a zero defect printing solution, I think, is a nice value-added proposition and it's part of our full-line solution.
Nice. Now, last year you upped your game a little bit on the pick and place front because you brought in a dual gantry system, a fairly fast system for you. This year, I believe that you're adding to that by bringing in a couple of alternative systems. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we introduced the new A40 platform at Apex last year. We started with that introduction with what we call the DX model, which is a door-headed system. And that's capable of placing up to 59,000 components an hour. So it's a little bit further advanced from a speed perspective than what we've been used to in years past. So that's nice. The head technology, we call it the MX7 head, is a very unique head technology with the capability of doing really small little chips as well as large BGA devices all on the same head. So it's a head that has the full component range. Mm-hmm. So now on one machine you have the full component range that our customers require. So we introduced the DX last year. And this year here, we're introducing the SX and LX version of that same platform. So now it complements the A40. And the SX and LX are single-headed machines, so not giving the same necessarily speed that the DX does, but it gives us the same flexibility. Right. And so those customers who don't necessarily need the volume, you've got the same capability that you have with the A40 platform. So
makes a lot of sense. And I think the last thing that I want to really talk about is you also updated the software for being able to get the data, the Gerber data and things into the system. Yep. And you're fairly unique in as much that you've got a system where you can bring it in once and it passes it down the line. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we call that Mycronic. And as part of the four-line solution, it's not just having the piece of gear, the piece of hardware along the line, it's the software that pulls it all together. And so Mycronic is a new software functionality that we introduced here this year. And Mycronic allows us to, with one port of entry, pull in CAD and BOM data for our jet printer, as well as our SPI machine, as well as our AOI machine. And this is our first step to having now a full turnkey programming facility for the entire line. So it's quite exciting for us. It's the first step in a full line programming solution, which is ultimately where we will get to. And I think that's a nice value proposition that I think we're the only guys that can talk about that. So it's quite exciting.
Yeah, it really is, and it's quite a game changer for you in some ways. Now, one of the things I was going to say is that typically in the United States and in Europe, we've been looking at companies that replace machines in onesies and twosies, but over in Asia, where they're generally doing higher volumes, they tend to replace the whole line solution because you're only as fast as the slowest machine on your line. Do you see that starting to maybe come across here, that same sort of mentality?
I would say yes and no. I think that most of our full line sales here in the States this last year, there was a lot of them. Most of those full line sales were either companies who were increasing capacity incrementally or replacing a legacy technology line. And so I think there's two sides to that coin. I don't see people replacing the whole line just because they've got a new product coming down. I don't see that happening. But I think the success of the full product line is the flexibility and the software that pulls it all together, and that's where we're headed with Mycronic. Yeah.
Well, you're certainly taking the steps in the right direction, Kevin.
Yeah.
So
one step at a time.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
Congratulations, and thank you for showing it to us today.
Yeah. Thanks ever so much for having me. Good to see you.